Finally, edit and revise the summary. Make sure that you have spelled things correctly and that all punctuation and capitalization are correct. Figurative versus literal language. Figurative language uses words to mean something other than the dictionary meaning. So when you're talking figurative language, a dictionary is not going to help you very much. It will describe something by comparing it to something else. It uses words in new and creative ways. For example, the muscles in his arms looked like bowling balls. His muscles are not literally bowling balls. They're probably just large, hard, and round. Or, she is a bird riding gently on the breeze. She is certainly not flying through the air. Instead, it's just talking about how smoothly she's moving. Literal language. Literal language will describe how something actually looks, feels, or sounds. A dictionary will help you with literal language. For example, he looked strong. Or, she is flying through the air on her hang glider. Notice that now we have a less interesting way of saying the same examples that we had before. Simile versus metaphor. A simile uses the word like or as to compare two things. For example, she floated in the air like a feather. She is not actually a feather, but the way she is moving is similar to the way a feather floats. So she is being compared to a feather using the word like. The horse is as strong as an ox. A horse and an ox are being compared using their strength. Metaphor makes a comparison of two or more things by suggesting that one thing is or was the other. Her lined face was a map of her life. She doesn't literally have a map on her face. It's talking about how her face shows that she has had an interesting life. The bird is a lady singing to her child. It's talking about how beautiful the bird is singing, not that the bird is actually a woman. Personification. Describing an object or idea with human-like qualities. For example, I watched the tulips poke their sleepy heads through the soil. Tulips don't actually have heads. That would be a human characteristic. Therefore, this would be an example of personification. In a matter of days, bright yellow dandelions are nodding cheerfully in the garden. Again, dandelions cannot nod. They don't have heads. That is an action that a human does. Finally, clusters of purple irises stand at attention between them. Irises don't have legs. They can't stand. This would be another example of personification. Irony. The real meaning may be opposite of what the words literally mean. An outcome may be opposite of what is expected. 3 types of irony. You have verbal irony, which is where a character says one thing but means the opposite. This is also called sarcasm, or being sarcastic. Situational irony is when what actually happens is opposite of what is expected. Something about the situation is completely unexpected. Finally, there's dramatic irony. This is when the reader understands more about the events of a story than the character. You know something that a character doesn't know. What type of irony? Number 1. Tim's parents are proud of the A he got, but we know he cheated. That's right, that would be dramatic irony, because you know something that Tim's parents don't know. Number 2, Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft, uses an Apple computer. That's right. That would be situational irony. Since Bill Gates founded Microsoft, the expected thing for him to do would be to use a Microsoft computer, not an Apple. And number 3, the locker room smells really good. That's right. That has to be verbal irony. A little bit of sarcasm there. Locker rooms don't usually smell good. Let's review irony. Something that is ironic is unexpected or the opposite of what is expected. If unexpected by the character, it's dramatic. If unexpected by everyone, it's situational. If it's sarcasm, then it's verbal. Symbolism. Symbolism is using a simple object to represent a more complex idea. For example, a rock could symbolize strength, a flag representing our freedom, or a dove representing peace. Hyperbole. A hyperbole is a figure of speech in which an exaggeration occurs. These statements are not true, but they're trying to emphasize something. For example, I nearly died laughing. Okay, so maybe something was funny, but I don't think you were going to die because you were laughing. I was hopping mad. No, you weren't jumping up and down around the room because you were so mad. That would be an exaggeration, or hyperbole. The pavement was so hot, our feet fried. I don't think your feet actually were being fried. I tried 1,000 times. No, you probably tried something more like 10. That would be another exaggeration. Alliteration. A repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of words. For example, Shelley Schnorr shrieked at the shiny shaking Shih Tzu. The sh sound is being repeated over and over at the beginning of words. Betty Botter bought a bit of better butter. The b sound is being repeated at the beginning of words. Or, she collected seashells by the seashore. Again, the s sound was being collected multiple times in this particular sentence. Please be aware, though, that alliteration doesn't have to be as obvious as this. 2 or maybe even 3 words close by each other is all you really need for alliteration. You don't have to go crazy. Assonance. Assonance is a refrain of vowel sounds to create rhyming within a sentence or a phrase. Here's a hint. Don't confuse alliteration or hyperbole. The key to assonance is vowel sounds. For example, try to light the fire. The I sound, try to light, and for ire, you have that I repeating. So that would be an example of assonance. Or in on a proud round cloud in white high night. On proud round cloud, you have the ow sound repeated. And then white high and night, you have that long I again. Onomatopoeia. An onomatopoeia imitates the sounds with the objects or actions that they refer to. For example, smack, buzz, splash, whoosh. Oxymoron. A figure of speech in which apparently contradictory or opposite terms appear next to each other. For example, that scar is pretty ugly on your arm. Pretty and ugly are apparent opposite terms right next to each other. Another example, I am terribly pleased that all of you earned an A+ on your test. Again, terribly and pleased would be opposite terms.